It's over, Benfiquistas. After a painful and sufferable season, it's finally over. And what that means is the end of the season. Keep, sell, loan is our regular segment. We won't even bother going into MVPs. But all of that and much more. Another night, another podcast.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças. With you, as always, every Tuesday night, or every Wednesday night, or every Thursday night, however we do this thing. Here we are. Last episode of the season. Cristiano's here with me. What's happening, Cristiano?
What's going on, Alfredo? What's going on, Freddy's?
That's right. Say hello to the Freddies. Let me bring up the chat here so I could say hello to the Freddies that are here. See, everybody's already pretty ready to go. Let's see who's here. Diogo Reis, I saw Diogo Reis earlier here. Chico Marcelino, Jason Gaidola, Bruno Gil Rodrigues, Josh Pereira. We're all here. I don't know how many others are here, but here we are. And if you guys haven't been following the podcast for a bit now, you know that usually at the end of each season, what we do is we have a segment that's called Sell, Keep, or Loan, in which we look at all the players on Benfica's roster and some of the ones that have been gone on loan. And we basically give our opinion on whether Benfica should put them on a shop window or loan them to get more experience, or keep them and remain as core of the team. Dave De Oliveira, who is usually with us, couldn't be with us tonight. He is in Portugal. He was at the final of the Cup of the Ladies, Benfica Ladies, that won the Cup at the Jamor this past weekend. Dave was there. He couldn't be here, but he did give me his list for us to place the players here under these three categories. In terms of the season, in terms of the last game, Benfica tied Rio Ave 1-1. Not much to write home about. Oh, Dave is on the chat, Cristiano. I'm honored to have such a lovely picture represent my picks. Of course, Dave, you know how we do it. But yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to let Josh know that I am watching the Rangers. Just so you know, Josh, I am watching. We're losing 1-0, but I'm watching. I'm doing the podcast. Just so you know, it's right here, right in front of me.
Olho no burro e outro no cigano. You ever hear that expression? Olho no burro e outro no cigano?
First time for
you gotta be careful with
yeah, I figure that, but I never heard the expression. But I kind of got it.
Yeah, Josh Pereira, Manny Valadão is also joining us. Yeah, but let's. I know that we usually do like the MVP of the season, the best defender, best midfielder, revelation player, so on and so forth. But I think that I don't know if I even have the energy to do that at the end of the season. I think
you
just
can do it. You can do it real quick, Alfredo.
Real quick.
It ain't. I mean, we don't have to sit there and elaborate, but. Yeah. If it's something you do, I mean, come on, you can't be one of them fair weather fans that when things go well, we do. When things don't go well, I mean, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
We have to stick to our mantra and stick to what we do on here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could do it real quick.
All right.
I mean, best goalie, Truven. Best defender, no say. Best midfielder, João Neves. Best forward, nobody. MVP of the season, João Neves.
And
revelation. Let's see, revelation. Revelation.
It's tough, man.
Marcus Leonardo.
Mark,
There it
I
is.
guess,
Danyams.
and
Swiss Army knife. Arsonist. What else?
let
What
that
else am I missing?
let down player or bust for you.
Bust. Epa, that's like, see, now that's some pondering. Now you got to really think about that. Bust of the season. Wow. And I'm not even trying to be funny, but there are so many candidates here that you seriously have to sit back and think. I guess to make my friend Hugo happy, I'm going to say Koksu because of the price tag, because of the expectations, because of all the hype. I think Koksu is the great flop of the season.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think there's many people that will disagree with you and with all the facts
No, I
that you
mean,
just
Alfredo,
mentioned.
you have you. There's plenty of candidates. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, Artur Cabral was a huge disappointment. I mean, he's definitely on that list. Um,
yeah,
but I would say because of the expectation of the price tag is always going to have a lot of say when you're making these decisions and determining this. So, Koksu and then Cabral, close second. But
yeah,
that's me. I don't know. You could say whatever you want, but that's how I
yeah.
would
No,
categorize.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I'm gonna go defender Antonio Silva, midfielder João Neves, attacker Jesus Rafa. Just
Di
because
Maria,
he
pa.
was
Di
yeah,
Maria. Di
that's true. You could
Maria.
go to
If
Di Maria, but
you're going to go attackers, Di Maria.
I go with Rafa because he was our best scorer. He had the most goals for Benfica. MVP João Neves, let down. Um, I would go Cabral because I still think that there was a lot of times that Kokshu didn't play in the right position, and towards the end of the season, we saw a little bit more of Kokshu. So we'll see what happens. Let down player. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cabral because of the price tag. I think I got everyone.
You see many Valadão guys like this saying, but when Koksu was played in the natural position, he scored in the last few games. And yes, that is indeed a fact.
Yeah,
But you can't take away the fact also that these games didn't mean shit at the end of the year.
yeah,
You know what I mean? No pressure. They were, and but you're right. It doesn't take away the fact that he was better. I mean, obviously, anyone with two good eyes could see that he was clearly better. But that's because he was also so bad
yeah,
in the first hour, the early step, that anything he did was going to salt out and it was going to jump out as something positive. But again, not to be negative on here, yes, he was better.
yeah,
But games, the pressure was not the same, wasn't at the same level. And so it's a lot easier to perform at when there's nothing at stake. And but to his credit, I do agree, and I said it here throughout the season on the podcast that I thought he was playing out of position. Yeah, look for next year, if he's around, if these Liverpool rumors are bullshit and he does stick around, yeah, I'm excited to see what we get out of him.
mm.
But in terms of this season, he's still the ultimate letdown because of the price tag. And we're talking about a league record, Benfica record, obviously, record signing. And just expected a lot more from a player of his magnitude. I mean, he was the Eredivisie player of the year at least once, if not twice. I know the season before he came to Benfica. So the expectations were through the roof. And I have to be fair. Like I came on here and I criticized in years past the Darwin Nunez of the world because of his price tag, and now I'd be very unjust and hypocritical if I didn't do the same. So if you're gonna expect stuff based on price tags, it's Cox who takes the cake for me.
Yeah. Dave was also calling out Jurasek as the flop. Yeah, that's the obvious one. That's
Dave, I don't know why Dave reminds me of that. I mean, we're so glad I forgot about that guy already. You know what I'm saying?
Dave also says Schmidt's stubbornness, the revelation of the season.
No, we kind of saw that last year at the end of the year.
Yeah,
No,
we
when
did
you just
see
played
it.
the same 13 guys. Yeah, we saw that last
Yeah,
year.
except when you're winning.
At the end of the year, estavam todos partidos. We could have again. We say it often. If the game went two more uh, match days, I'm not sure if he could be able to hold on to that 2 point lead. So, Dave, I think his stubbornness came out a little bit last year. But yeah, this year it was prevalent.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with that. All right, we're ready to start.
Yeah, see, does a bit quick.
All right, let's start at the beginning.
Who's your revelation? Who was your revelation? I'm sorry.
Who is my revelation?
Yeah, you were thinking.
Marcos Leonardo. I'm gonna say Marcos Leonardo also. I think it was the only thing that the little glimmer of hope that we got from a player that we acquired. I mean, João Neves is no longer a revelation, obviously, but I think that if anyone surprised me by some of the skills that we saw, for sure, was Marcos Leonardo. Even though he didn't get to play a lot, but a guy who has tremendous ease of getting a shot off, gets a shot off in very little space. I was pleased and can't wait to see him a little bit more when he's past this adaptation period, I guess. Which I figured that's the only way, the only reason why he's been kept out of being a regular starter is because he's still adapting to the coaching and the team and tactics and whatnot. All right, start at the beginning. Trubin. I'm gonna. Can you go first, or you want me to go?
No, you can go ahead. You can do Dave, then you.
Yeah, I'll do Dave.
Because Dave's already there. Then you. Then me.
Yeah, Dave. It's a keep for Dave. So Trubin is a keep. For me, is a keep also.
So why do you have him at loan?
Oh, I just moved. You just moved them.
Okay, because here it says loan. Okay.
Yeah, when you see it in real time, it'll move to.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, and
what did you say?
Trubin. I'm obviously gonna say.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say keep also for me. Oops.
Yeah, same thing. At this point, keep. I mean, he should be back better in his second year. You can tell some of his inexperience showed at times. Hopefully next year, another year. We don't know. I guess Ricosta will be speaking tomorrow in the new format. Still yet wondering what the hell the new format will be. But
from what I understand, it will be multiple journalists from multiple news media that will be giving or asking questions. So instead of being BTV or whoever,
so it'll be like an open forum to media.
So it'd be like a media scrum, I guess you could call
it.
Next up, let's see. We'll keep going with the goalies and Samu. Let me see who Samu is. I'm trying to find this picture. Sorry, here he is. Samu for Dave is a loan for Samu. What about you? For me is go ahead, Chris.
I'd say so. At this point, we've seen what we need to see from the kid. Nice keeper, but at this point, I think Benfica will be better served with bringing up maybe the kid. What's his name? The Andre Santos Gomes, whatever his name is. Bringing him up, giving him the experience of making a game day action on the bench. But I think Benfica needs a seasoned goaltender to be the backup to another young goalkeeper, a guy that we saw this year was phenomenal at times and was very underwhelming other times. So I think you need a veteran presence in that. So I think Benfica will be well served. Sell this kid, let him go on to green pastures, keep 50% of his pass, and if he turns out to be the goods, you could always get him back later on. But I think so at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Cristiano, if you could keep your eye just on the chat, just to see what everyone's opinion is, because I got a bunch of things going on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to the chat real quick,
just call out a couple names.
Abola Caderno says, keep Alfredo, loan Dave, and sell Cristiano in that order. Manny Bladon says, and for the second year in a row, we have a PSG player on loan. Spent whole year on injured. Basically, what he's saying, no more loans from PSG. Diogo says, revelation still has to be Neves. He only started playing last year after Enzo left. Yeah, but and they took over for Shaquille. Yeah, but the kid showed last year that he could play. I think he was a revelation already last year.
Yeah.
Was he, or was he Antonio Silva? It might have been Antonio Silva. But we all knew that the kid could play at the end of last year. The kid was phenomenal. Let me see. I don't know what the PJO the great one. So PJO, the great one. Samu has to be loaned. Diogo Reis again, loan one of either of Gomes or Samu. Manny Valadon might as well keep it going and get Renato Sanchez to spend the next year on the injured list, which is a possibility he comes. But yeah, those so far those comments.
Yeah, I am the opinion that we should loan Samu because I think at this point he's gonna need to go somewhere to progress, unless they feel that Andre Gomes is much better than Samu, and you sell him. To me, if he stays with the team, he's gonna stagnate. He's gonna go. He needs to go out to get a loan. Perhaps in his place, we can get Andre Gomes in his place. But I do agree with Cristiano. We need an experienced
No, you
goalkeeper as
can't
a
get Andre
second guy.
Alfredo. When you say keep Andre Gomes and Samu's the number two.
Yeah, but go Andre Gomes number 3 and bring in a somewhat experienced
Okay,
goalie.
okay, but then that's not in. It would be in his place. It would be in the other guy's place. It wouldn't be in his place.
Right, right.
His place would be the veteran.
Yeah, it will be in the
Yeah,
our next.
Kokubu, he'd take over Kokubu's spot, and then Samu would go out and then bring in a veteran, right? I think that's what you're trying to say, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Next one on the list is Kokubu, and Dave has him as a sell. So I'll put him here in the sell, and for me is a sell also.
Yep, I agree.
I don't know what we have seen from Kokubu to keep him at Benfica, to be honest with you. So next up, we're gonna turn our attention to Ba, which starts with the defenders. So for let's see, Ba, I think probably. Well, Dave says keep, not probably. I was gonna say probably. We're all on the same wavelength in terms of Ba. What's your take on Baksh?
Keep. But I think there's a really good possibility that Nelson Smith who comes in and the two of them will be a great pairing at right back for Benfica.
Yep. So he's a keep for all 3 of us. And then next up, Diogo Spencer. I don't have Diogo's. I think Diogo needs to. I don't. I didn't see enough of Diogo Spencer. Dave is saying to keep Diogo Spencer. I think that it was just Roger Schmidt trying to give him a little bit of what the reality is with the main team. I'm not sure if he's considering him for next season. I think at this point, and because we had the year that we had at fullback, I think we need to go get somebody that could compete with Ba, that could play whenever Ba's injured, and really there's not a lot of difference between the both of them. I don't know. What's your take, Chris?
Well, Spencer, NA, not applicable. You know what I mean? Like, no, I look, keep him on the B team, see what comes of it. If he progresses to the point where maybe he gets a sniff on the main squad, or or maybe you loan the kid out to get him more experience and then bring him back at some point. But I think right now, Benfica needs to get back in the championship path, and they need to get assurances as opposed to more question marks. Not a knock on the kid. Let him play on the B team, and if he's really ready and he progresses to where we can use it on main team, I think coaching staff will do their work and they'll promote him. But for now, in my honest opinion, B team, just keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let him cut his teeth in a B team. Next up, Tony Silva. It's Dave says here, sell, make that money. We have replacements in that position. I think that we all know that Benfica needs to make money every year with a big sell. And I think that if I were to choose between Silva and Neves, I'd rather see Silva go. So I'm with Sal also. Not because I don't think he's good enough for the team, but because of the reasons I just said. Benfica must
Yeah,
sell. What about you, Chris?
ditto. I agree, word for word. Same thing. Not because I don't like the kid. I wouldn't like for him to stay, but we just have to be realistic. We know someone's gonna have to leave, and he's obviously one of the few pieces that Benfica has to sell and make some significant money on. So, yeah, sell sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
You gotta sell. You gotta do what you
agree.
gotta do.
And yeah, we're deep at center back, especially if we keep Otamendi. Speaking of center backs, Muratu, Dave is keep because he feels that he adds depth to that back line. Um, what's your take, Chris?
Agreed. He's going to be the guy that slots in Antonio Silva spot. Move Otamendi back to the right center back spot and to his natural position, and then you still have Araujo that could come in for both of them, get lots of experience. So yeah, for me, Morata is a keep. I think Morata has all the tools to be successful. Just needs to be a little bit more consistent, but maybe with that consistency of playing time and knowing that the spot is his as opposed to having to fight it out and understanding from the get go that he's going to be behind Anthony Silva or Otamendi. Maybe that gives him the extra little bit of motivation to get over the little mishaps that he got that he commits a lot of times. And so I do think that there's a player there, though.
Yeah,
I
no,
think he's a keep for
I
sure.
agree, and I think with young center backs, it's so beneficial to keep to play alongside a veteran. I mean, we saw Luizão kind of be the padrinho to Lindelof, Ruben Dias, Otamendi now being the padrinho to Antonio Silva. And I think that Murato needs a padrinho also in that back line. And I think all center backs, the most reps you get, consecutive reps, the better you get because you become familiarized with your partner. Because after all, it is a tandem. That position works as a tandem. And I think that if he gets lots of repetitions, that I think that there's some talent there. He's a tough guy, hard nosed defender, physical. He's not the fastest guy, but I do think that there's quite a bit of a up value to Muratu. The biggest thing with Muratu for me is that whether or not after last summer, having quite a few clubs looking at him and possibly interested in him, and also in the winter, and Benfica always shut him down. I hope that Muratu is not of the mindset right now that since Roger Schmidt's going to stay, um, that he feels that he's kind of hasn't deserved the confidence from Roger Schmidt. But when Antonio Silva leaves, it becomes a whole different playing field in terms of that back line. And I think that Murato is that left side, the center back, as Cristiano mentioned, and I think he'd be great, and I would love to keep him. Next up, El Captain, El Capitan, Otamendi. Dave, keep only for leadership purposes. Time as a starter is running thin, is what Dave says.
I agree 1,000%. You keep the guy, especially if you're going to sell a guy who's a young leader back there in Antonio Silva. You're going to need to keep some of the leadership at Benfica, and I think he'll be a positive influence on the likes of Morato, even though he spent some time with Morato now, 3 years, and the likes of Araujo. And I think if they do sell Antonio Silva, there will be another center back coming into the equation. So I think he's still that positive influence in the locker room. He still has a lot to add. But at the same time, he Benfica needs to start withering him out of the lineup. Couple more breaks and bringing in some of the younger guys because we know that long teeth, right? That means you're getting up there in age, and
Yep.
his days are numbered. So, but I still think he has a lot to add for one more season at least.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, the other center back, Tomás Araújo. Um, Dave says keep. He has shown he is more than capable of starting when he has been called upon. Um, yeah, I'm gonna agree with Dave. I think that there's quite a bit of of talent there. I don't think, and I think that so looking at this back line and thinking ahead, and Otamendi's not here. I think that Araújo complements Moratu really well because Moratu's the physical one and Araújo is the speedy and more silky defender. And I know that silky and defender, you don't always put those two together. But he always reminds me of the guy that's just a little toe poke to get the ball away. Doesn't have to be anything too dramatic, but he's just efficient. So I am going to keep Araújo also. What say you, Chris?
No, for sure. Of course. I think already said you have a replacement. When I mentioned Antonio Silva, when I mentioned Morato, when I mentioned Otamendi, I think Araújo has to stay. Even though I do think there will be another center back coming into play. I'm not sure if it'll be a kid from the B team. I'm not sure if it'll be somebody from the outside, but there will be another center back in play in the summer if Antonio Silva does leave. But yeah, Araújo stays. Araújo has the tools, just has to develop, has to get to the next level. But he's got a lot of the tools that that is required to be a top-notch player at Benfica.
Okay. Next up, Carreras. Carreras, who is on loan at Benfica. Benfica has the option to buy. Started getting a little bit more playing time towards the end of the season when, out of necessity, I think, Cristiano, because I think that if we have Ba healthy, maybe Auschner starts at left back instead of Carreras. I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about Carreras. I think that he has margin for progression. Still a young kid. Doesn't defend as well as he goes forward. I think he does have some nice feet at times, but it's still young. Still needs to learn a lot. For me, Carreras, I'd like to keep him, but not to keep him as this is our starter for next season, but a guy that could grow under a more veteran left back under their tutelage. That's where I'm at with
Yeah.
Carreras.
I'm at trigger the option deep, but they still need to go get another guy uh, to make a start, which is crazy. Which then in theory you're buying two left backs in the same season, right? Triggering his option and acquiring another one. So yeah, I think if Benfica could get a more veteran left back and letting him learn under his tutelage and learn under his wing by playing, getting experience and playing in the against the smaller teams. I think there's a player there. I like the player going forward defensively. He's a little bit of a question mark, but you expect that out of young players who are, especially a player that's come from the Real Madrid or Manchester United academy, right? Which they're so used to attacking and not doing much defending because, as we all know, those academies are stacked. And so when these guys get to the big stage, it takes a little bit of adaptation, a little bit of time to learn the position of defensively because you're so accustomed to going forward, then all of a sudden you have to go backwards. So yeah, I do like the player. Hope Benfica keeps him, but at the same time, as I said, they need to go get another left back that gives them more assurances and more of a guarantee.
Yeah, Jason Gaidola is saying sell Araújo. Jason Gaidola is also saying time to sell or let go Otamendi.
Araújo right now doesn't have that market.
Yeah.
Benfica is just going to sell him just to sell. You're not going to get much from him, so you're better off just keeping him at this point. Especially if you do sell Antonio Silva, maybe this kid makes the next step, and now you're a year away from selling the kid for big bucks if you need to sell him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right now you're not just going to sell him for peanuts. It makes no sense.
Yeah, PJO is saying, in my opinion, Tomas is better than Moratu. Yeah, as I mentioned, I think that they're different players. They offer different things to the back line, and sometimes a good tandem is that tandem. The guy that's hard nosed, that's gonna make his presence felt from the very early on, and then you got the guy that's nice and smooth, that's faster, that's going to double up on coverages, that's going to be able to close up holes when they appear there. So you kind of need a mix of both for me, in my opinion. And I'm saying that because when I played, I was a center back, so I understand what that mix is and what that tandem needs to work like. Juan Bernat,
Real
go ahead,
quick.
Dave.
Oh, you were
Chris.
Nick Belladon asked, "Did we sell Lucas Verissimo or is he returning on loan?" No, he's sold. He's gone. He's gone for
Outright
good.
sold.
Yeah, he's gone.
Outright sold.
No longer an option.
Yep. Yep. By the way, Otamendi has a contract until 2025. Tomás Araújo has a contract until 2028. Morato has a contract till 2027. So quite a bit of time for Morato. Antonio Silva also until 2027. Leo Kokubu 2025. Samu 2027, and Trubin 2028 from the guys that we have done. Jurasek, he's out on loan, but I don't think we need to spend time on Jurasek. I don't think anybody wants to see him close to a Benfica shirt anymore. All right, changing speeds now. Midfielders. Florentino is who we go with first. And Dave says, sell if there's a market, as his price won't get higher if he is not a starter next season. So Dave's a sell. Cristiano, what's your take on Florentino?
I agree. You have the kid Leandro Barreiro coming in.
Yeah.
Who plays the same position, even though I think Tino's a little bit more defensive. But yeah, if there is a nice offer, I'd seriously consider it, because you see this coach didn't really count on him much in some games. Obviously, he made the change in the second half of the season where he inserted him into the lineup. But I think he I don't know. I don't think Roger Schmidt's a huge fan. So if you're just going to keep the kid on the roster just to be a backup, and you got a nice offer on the table, you might as well just accept it. And especially Barreiro is as good as they say he is, which he was captain of mine. He played there for many years, a regular starter. So I anticipate he's going to add more quality to this roster. So I think he's going to warrant some minutes himself. So yeah, if Tino's not going to be a starter, I think it's time to pack the bags. And again, at the same time, there's nothing wrong with keeping them. But yeah, if there's a nice offer on the table, I'd seriously consider it.
Yeah. I think, and that's a good shout in terms of the Barreiro's acquisition. In my argument for keeping Tino is that right now we don't have anyone on the roster with his skill set in terms of defensive skill set. But with this kid Barreiros, apparently he has a similar skill set. I haven't seen a lot of them, of him, I should say. But he also has some challenges going forward, like Tino, but he's a little bit more polished in terms of going forward and with the ball at his feet. But I'm gonna go with keep for Tino, just because I think that he offers a lot on a defensive side of the ball. Let's see. Next up, João Mario. Let's see. Dave says here that João Mario. A week ago, I would have said keep the leadership / locker room presence, who can come off the bench / provide depth in the squad. However, his nonchalant comments after the last game makes me want to sell him, as we need players with that go get him mentality. So Dave would sell João Mario. I don't disagree with him, with Dave. I just think that there's probably not a lot of clubs interested in João Mario at this point of his career. But I think that I wouldn't keep him. I would sell João Mario. What about you, Chris?
What I would do and what's going to happen is two different things. I would sell him. But then again, you're not going to get a lot. You're going to get $5 million for him and call it a day. But I don't think he's leaving. I think Benfica, not just Benfica, I think in the Portuguese leagues, team have a certain amount of Portuguese players that they have to carry on the roster and whatnot. So the allocation of Portuguese players is very key. You're gonna have Antonio Silva leaving, probably Antonio João Neves. That's two Portuguese slots right there that Benfica will have to refill. So I think João Mario, just because of the numbers, is going to stay. It's going to be hard to get rid of him, and then at the same time, also he's got a really nice contract, so I doubt he's going to want to just give that up and go play in some Camel Town or something like that. Um, so yeah, I think I would sell him, but he's not going anywhere. I mean, that's just a pipe dream
Yeah.
on all of us. He's not going anywhere. He's staying.
Ne-
He's forget about it.
next up, Fireman Auschnitz. And I think that we'll probably all agree that that Auschnitz is a keep. Let's
Yeah.
put him in here.
Keep, but I would like to play him in the middle. I don't want to play him on the left mid, left right back, right. No, none of that. Keep and play him in the middle. If you do keep João Neves, it'd be nice to pair him next to João Neves and try to implement that type of system because I don't think he's a winger. And God, bless him because the dude tries his best at left back and right back, but that's not his position as well. So, but yeah, he's a keep. We're wasting time here. Just we all agree. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. João Neves is next up on the choices here, and I think that João Neves is unanimous in terms of what we would do with him. Chris, thoughts on João Neves?
I keep him. That's without a shadow of a doubt. I'd keep him, but unfortunately, I think he has an agent that's itching to sell him. The player himself gave an interview a couple months ago that I even mentioned on the podcast that it didn't sound too pleasing for us Benfica. He himself didn't make any guarantees. He said, "Look, it is what it is. The end of the year is the end of the year right now." So he could have said, "I want to stay here," but he didn't. He didn't. You could tell he chose his words wisely. I think he's closer to the exit door than he is to the entrance door, the staying door, or whatever door that is. But yeah, I think unfortunately he might not be back. But I'd keep him.
Yeah,
so I'd say keep.
He's a keep for me also. But yeah. I think a lot is going to depend on how much time he plays in the Euros. I think that if he plays in the Euros, if he grabs regular time in the Euros, which I don't think he will, but if he does, everybody's going to be looking at João Neves, and everybody's going to want João Neves because he's just that type of player. He's just very pleasing on the eye, hard worker, smart player. Dave says sell and make that money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Turning our attention to forwards, I don't have João Regu's picture, but I guess we could give our opinion. Dave says loan/B team if he's not going to count for the first team squad next season. Yeah, I think it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think he needs to cut his teeth on the B team. I'm with you guys on that. Next up, Neres. And Dave says for Neres keep, as there would not be a significant offer coming his way in terms of transfer value. I think he has a lot of market. What do you think, Cristiano?
Who?
Neres.
Neres? I don't think he has that big of a market, Alfredo.
No?
Because he's been injury prone of late. You know what I mean? So teams are going to take that into consideration. And again, Benfica's not going to sell him for. Yeah, if he put his price tag at 10 mil, he'll have a huge market. But Benfica's not going to put him at 10 mil. So I think his market is limited because of his injury history. So
yeah. So, but you keep him.
I'd obviously keep him. Yeah, I'd keep. I mean, look again. Everybody, there's a price tag, right? That I want to keep you, but if somebody shows up with an offer that is enticing, I'm seriously going to consider it. But I think that offer is not coming, so I'd keep him.
Yeah.
But if Benfica will be listening if something does pop up.
Yeah, I think it unless it's something out of the Middle East with crazy money. But I
Yeah.
agree with you. He's been very injury prone. But when he's on, man. There's times that he's almost unplayable. Next up, Di Maria. Dave says thank you, but I don't believe he will be coming back. Maybe best for all parties to go their separate ways and have Benfica start fresh with youngsters on the wings. So Dave is a sell for Di Maria.
We got to be careful with that. It'd be a bunch of 20-year-olds, Otamendi is Romario, and that's not enough experience to make it throughout a whole season. You need some veteran guys. You're losing Rafa. You're losing some key guys. So look, Di Maria has been a very controversial figure this year at Benfica. There's some that don't run about soccer say the guy has been a huge liability. They don't want him on the team. And anybody that understands a little bit about football knows that this guy is the only guy giving face and showing up for pressure-packed situations. Go look at the Porto game. Go look at the Sporting games. He was the only one asking for the ball. Obviously, he's 36. He's not going to produce at the level he did at 26. But I think with a coach that will manage his minutes correctly, I still think he has a lot to give. And that's the way I anticipated he would be used this year. But unfortunately, that was not the case. The guy played practically every second of every game, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think if he is brought back, as I mentioned with the Otamendis of this world, that he could be a player with experience, a player in the locker room that is able to be an influence and an example for the youngsters. Used properly, Di Maria still has a lot to give to this team. There's going to be a lot of youngsters on this team. We're going to get to these guys in a second, and so they can learn a lot from them. And so I'm hoping Benfica brings him back one more year. I'm not opposed to it, so I'm cool with it. But again, with that stipulation that he's not going to play every second of every game.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Di Maria when Di Maria came, and I think everybody was pretty high on Di Maria coming, right? And I think that all of us thought, okay, Di Maria at this age, if we could get 30 games, 25 games out of Di Maria for the season, manage him well, rest his legs, have him available in important games, get him minutes here and there so he doesn't lose the competitive rhythm. I think he will be really good. I don't think anybody anticipated Di Maria playing the minutes that he played. And I think that at the end of the day, there's a faction of people that look at this season and look at Di Maria as one of the guys to blame for the season not being what we expected it to be. I'm of the opinion that he was, like Cristiano mentioned, he was poorly managed. We could have gotten a lot more from Di Maria. And look, there's no question in my mind of what he brings. Di Maria's skill set, even at his age, is a guy that is more skillful than probably, if not most of this team. I don't think anybody has the skill set of Di Maria when he's healthy, when he's rested, and I think he offers a lot to this team. I don't think he is to blame at all for the season. I just think that he's a victim of poor management. So for me, he's a keep also for Di Maria. Next up, Restiani, a buy for the future, or with the future in mind. I got him very early. As a matter of fact, we waited for him to 17 years to turn 17 years old to sign him, to bring him from Argentina. If I remember right. Do you remember Cristiano? He's 18 now. We have to wait until he turned 18, right?
You have to wait. Yeah, any player that's leaving the continent that he was born in has to wait until he's 18, or the parents have to move with him and get jobs and the whole nine and establish residency. So, yeah, he had to wait. Benfica signed him when he was 17 and a half or whatever. They reached an agreement with Velez for his signature. And then, like I said, yeah, they had to wait till he was 18, and was 18, and he came on over. So that's the rule. That's the FIFA rule.
He's a keeper for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't even. I wouldn't even think about a loan at this point. I mean, is a player with lots of future, lots of potential. That Benfica needs to keep an eye on. Next up, my man Rollheiser, the kid that we so desperately needed that we paid 500,000 for, so we could just get to Portugal.
Extra, extra,
That's right,
not
extra,
four.
extra.
Extra, not 500.
Well,
Yeah.
for him to come and in the winter transfer window and experience the spring in Portugal. Um, Dave is a keep on this one. I think we're all in agreement that Rollheiser is a keeper. I'm running out.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be fools. We'd be fools to say loan, and they'd be even bigger fools, especially if it's the same coach. Now, if a new coach came in, okay, different opinions, that's fine. But if this coach and coaching staff sticks around, and now you pay an extra 500,000 to 6 months later, say, yeah, we're better off loan, then you're just a jackass.
Yeah. Uh, Golvea is who we got up next, and I don't know. I have some
Loan.
some mixed feelings.
I'm gonna say loan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say loan because you have. You know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it. Keep. You need to fill out a roster, and they're not gonna go out and get too many players this season. Portuguese fits that whole mold that I was talking about. João Mario. He's a keep. I changed my mind. He's a keep.
Yeah, you know what? He's a keep for me too. But I could see him go out on loan, but only if it was to the right team where he's getting regular playing time and he takes the next step in his career. Because I don't think that he's going to get much playing time next year, especially if Di Maria stays and Neres stays, and you got Sheldroop coming, you got Prestiani, you got Rollheiser. That's a whole lot of people, and I mean,
Yeah, but he's Portuguese,
yeah,
so that's in his favor.
it counts for competitions, right? And as Cristiano mentioned, at the winter transfer, or even in the beginning of the season, he was on the let go list by Roger Schmidt, if you guys recall. He didn't apparently didn't count. And then they couldn't,
Like twice.
yeah, they couldn't move
And then
him.
he was going to Villarreal. Was it Villarreal? He was going to or was it Villarreal? He was going to Spain or Valencia. I forget what. Now the team escapes my mind, but he was going to Spain. It wasn't Villarreal. It was a smaller team. I forget the team now. But he was going to Spain, and then something fell apart, the negotiations, and then it didn't go through. And then all of a sudden, Sheldroop decides that he wants to leave, and then the coaching staff or whoever made the decision then said, "Well, a winger's leaving now. This guy can stay," and so that's how he came about being on the roster this season. So had Sheldroop stayed, I don't think he would have stayed. Maybe
Yep.
they would have figured something out for him.
Yep. Next up is shit. Cabral, Artur Cabral. What do you think about Cabral, Chris?
I think if you get an offer that is within 5 million of what you paid for him, man, you cut your loss. You say goodbye, thank you for what you've done. And Benfica has to go out and find a striker. I just have serious doubts in these guys because these are the same people that found Cabral to fit this coaching style and system, and unfortunately, we saw the opposite. So hopefully, they won't make that same mistake. But yeah, if Benfica gets an offer anything close to what they paid for him, I'd seriously have to open the door for him because they're not going to want to take a huge loss. But yeah, something within 5 mil, they'd say, "See you later."
Yeah, Dave says sell and possibly even cut our losses. Best scenario for all parties. Yeah, which echoes the same thing that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's the same thing, and not only for the reasons that both Cristiano and Dave mentioned, but I think he's been in a collision course with the coach, and I don't know if that relationship can be mended. along with the fact that I would just like to get rid of him, both him and Tankstead, and just keep Marcos Leonard and bring two guys that are going to be guys that could make an impact. Talking about Tankstead is next up. I already know where we're gonna
You
end
don't
up.
know. You don't have to ask me, right? You don't have to
Nope,
ask me. I think
I don't have to ask you. You're right. Let me see. Let me find Tankstead here. I think he's what's Dave said. Dave says keep only to be third on the depth chart and not be counted on for LOL.
no, not even because injuries happen, and that guy all of a sudden is coming off the bench, and you have to count on him. No, 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 no. I want him far, far away.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Dave just said that jokingly, but I think that he's a sell for me also.
Ozzy Benfica says, anyone see Gouveia getting loaned out and we get Jota from Guimarães, even though he feels that Guimarães will want too much money, though. I agree. And like, think about Jota Silva. Nice player, but is he really going to come to Benfica and be a starter?
Yeah.
Was he starting over the Neves? Is he starting over even Di Maria? We don't know if he's back yet. But is he starting? And we understand that he gives it his all. But is he that player you're going to spend 20 mil, whatever it's going to take? Because, they're going to want their money. 15 to 20 mil to sit on the bench and not play right when you have the Schaldroups and even the Gouveias of this world, and there'll be other guys in the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I
he's a nice player, but
yeah.
keep him where he's at.
I think if Vitória wants too much money to be a French player, I'll pass.
And he made his Portuguese national team debut too, so that adds to the value. You know what I'm saying? To the value that they're gonna ask, to the valuation. So yeah, it's not gonna be cheap. It's not like you're gonna turn around and get to play for 7, 8 mil. If that's the case, then yeah, you consider it because he's Portuguese, the whole nine. But even then, he's not gonna come to be unless Di Maria doesn't come back and you just hand him the starting spot on one side, the opposite of the Vinesh. But yeah, I don't know. I'd see Gouveia staying because of the whole Portuguese thing.
Yeah. Next up, Marcos Leonard, and Dave says keep, and hopefully Roger will use him more often next season. No, I think that we're all in agreement that out of the three forwards, this is the guy that deserves to continue playing, to continue to stay involved.
Diogo Reis is saying keep Leonardo, sell Picanha, and Tankstead. Okay, we're in agreement. And buy Paulinho. What Paulinho?
Not Paulinho from Sporting. For this, please.
And that's why I'm asking. What Paulinho? And what, you're gonna go buy a player at Sporting? I mean, that's why I don't think it's him. It's got to be someone else, Alfredo.
Yeah.
Paulinho, some other guy we're missing. I don't know what he's talking about, but.
Yep. And last but not least, Sheldrup. I think we're all in agreement that I don't have his picture, but we're all in agreement that Sheldrup needs to come back home.
Dave says Picanha for sale at a discount. Oh, Diogo Reis is talking about Paulinho from Atlético Mineiro. I don't know. I have
no idea.
I don't know who that is.
Me either. Diogo Reis must have that box like JJ has. He can watch all the games.
The server.
That's right. So that about concludes it, right? I'll just recap everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, hold on. So
who are we missing?
Recap before you do. Yeah. Before you do, I think it was. I don't want to misquote. I think it was Aussie. I forget where it was. Basic. I don't know who it was now. But basically, whomever it was said to oh my God, to I forget what loan somebody, whatever, and bring back what's the kid that went on loan to Famalicão and he wound up at Riwap.
Henrique Araújo.
Henrique Araújo. Yes.
Yeah, PJO is saying, what do you guys think Benfica will do with Henrique Araújo when he comes back from loan? I don't think he registered a single goal for Famalicão.
He gets loaned back out,
Yeah,
man. There's no way a guy that can't crack Famalicão and Rio Ave all of a sudden is coming to Benfica to make an impact. I mean, it would be it'd be one of those like what's his name? Like Gouveia last year.
yeah,
Last resort. We tried everything to get okay, yeah, 6 players got hurt. This guy got so okay, you're gonna stay. It'd
yeah.
be it'd be something like that at this
I
point.
know that that he had some injury issues, but I think when you loan a player like that to a team like Famalicão plays a nice, attractive football this season, and
And so did Rio.
yeah, and I just think that that the Rouge didn't really fulfill the hope that we had for him in terms of progressing to the next level in order to come back next season and to be uh, a significant headache for Roger Schmidt in terms of being an option to stay on this roster. I think that if you're looking at the Rouge the way he is right now and the last year that he had, and like I said, he had some injuries. I don't think that he progressed as Benfica would have liked him to. So maybe he comes back, does the preseason with the team, but I think at this point, perhaps, unless he has a magical preseason and he convinces Roger Schmidt or the whatever coach is going to be at the helm, which I don't know, but I think it's going to be Roger Schmidt. But I just think that he didn't do enough at Famalicão. He didn't progress the way we were hoping for.
No. I guess Zach just came into the chat because he's asking why do you guys want to sell João Neves and Antonio Silva? Zach, I'd recommend you just rewind to the part where we're talking about those players.
Não faças isso,
We don't
homem.
want to
Não faças
sell.
isso, homem, pá.
We don't. No, but we just don't. I mean,
Explica,
we're gonna
explica,
repeat
explica.
everything all over again.
I'll
No, we don't want to sell, but we know that somebody's gonna
Yeah.
have to leave, and
Yeah.
it was more of what we think is gonna happen more so than what I want to happen. Okay, Zach, we don't want to sell nobody. If we can keep all these guys, I still have João Felix and
Yeah.
and Ruben and everybody on this team, but we know that that's just not the reality of things.
Yeah.
So
The fact of the matter is that Benfica always, I'm going to repeat myself for Zach because Zach is here every now and again. Benfica always has to sell a player, so it's going to be either him or Antonio Silva. If both go, and I spoke about Neves in terms of he's going to be at the Euro. If he gets some minutes and he plays well, and his value will go up even more. We have to sell a player. I think that there's teams looking at Antonio Silva and João Neves as players that have the most market at in this Benfica team. So that's why Dave has him on sell. I don't think Cristiano has him on sell. Cristiano has him on keep. I have him on keep, but we all have Antonio Silva on sell. Because if we had to pick one of those two, I'd rather Antonio Silva go because our back line is much deeper than that midfield. That's where we're at.
yeah,
We just recap.
it's a lot easier to replace a center back than it is to replace a player of the likes of João Neves. Manny Baladon says, "Can we do a buy, loan, sell on Roger Schmidt?" How about this one? I'm gonna come up with a new category that you missed, Manny. Release. You didn't put that one there. Release.
Yeah, but I guess I was gonna put sell/release, because it's kind of like the same. Like rescind your contract by mutual agreement. That's actually an option on FM. Mutual rescind contract.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can mutually terminate a contract with anybody if you come to an agreement. Yes, but we're not.
Yeah.
Y estamos aquí todo día. This guy, we we mutually, because again, I think Roger Schmidt will leave if they say, "Look, leave, and we're going to pay you full contract." Okay, they're local, but
yeah,
that's not on the table yet.
Yeah, let me say goodbye to our friends at Pema Media. Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for listening to us throughout the season while we've been on Pema Media. We'll be back next season with more Benfica podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for Pema Media for giving us an opportunity to share our podcast with their audience. All right. So can we recap, or is there a lot more that we need to talk about? I wish Dave was here because Dave could have helped us out in the comments, but that's okay.
No, I could help you in the. I mean, you want me to read
No,
more comments?
I was
will.
gonna say
I just don't want to interrupt you.
while we are calling out certain players to get what everybody's opinion was, but I think we're on a bit of a delay, so it might take too long for those to start popping up. But Diogo Reis says keep Gouveia. Jason Gaidola says keep Prestiani, keep Rolheiser. Diogo Reis says Rolheiser might be a starter for me next year. Jason Gaidola keep Di Maria if we can. What else? Jason Gaidola keep Neres. A Bola Caderno says Di Maria in his 30s is way better than Rafa in his 20s. Facts. Diogo Reis says bring back Di Maria under some serious load management. Can't play every game, which is what we mentioned. So we're on the same page. Jason Gaidola keep João Neves.
Who is it? Somebody said there's too many keepers on the board. That was Jason Gaidola. Jason, I mean,
That's a good thing. We'd have
I don't.
seasons that
It's not about it. It's a good thing, and it's not. It just we have to be realistic. This club has spent a ton of money in recent seasons. There are some players that were brought in for a lot of money that are not worth that money today. So I have to come on here and try to give you a little bit of my opinion and also a little common sense of what's going to happen. I can't just say, yeah, I mean, because if you ask me my personal opinion, like in terms of, well, what I do if I was the, and quote unquote, the GM, right? Because that's what we call it here in America, is the GM. Trust me, I'll keep three or four of these guys. Everybody else will be gone, but we know the reality of it. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? You're not going to leave. You're not going to have a turnover of 22, 23 players. So we're trying to keep it a little bit opinionated, but at the same time realistic too as well. Even though still, it's my opinion on what realistic on what the realistic thing is. So, but still, at the end of the day, trying to be fair here.
A Bola Caderns is selling Auschnitz. I didn't see that. Yeah, exactly why Cristiano needs to be sold from Benfica podcast. First Antonio Silva and not Florentino Luis.
What?
I'm guessing that that because you mentioned that Antonio Silva needs to be sold, and then Florentino Luis also needs to be sold. That's why a Bola Caderns. He's your buddy.
I don't know. I guess. Sure.
Yeah. So you want to recap? I think that there's a lot of comments here, but it's kind of hard to be on here. All right, let's run through this. Dave, on Dave's sell list, Kokubu, Antonio Silva, Tino, João Mário, João Neves, Di Maria, Cabral, and Tankstead. On his loan list, Samu. On his keep list, Prestiani, Trubin, Ba, Muratu, Otamendi, Tiago Araújo, Marcos Leonardo, Álvaro Carreiras, Auschnitz, Ba, Rolheiser, and Di Maria. No, I'm sorry, Di Maria. This is who is this guy? Who is this? Gouveia.
What are you talking about?
Gouveia. I was looking at the pictures, but the pictures are so small here that I couldn't see. Yeah, but it's Gouveia. On my list, I have on the sell side, Gokubu, Tony Silva, João Mário, Cabral, and Tankstead. On my loan, I also have Samu. On my keep, Gouveia, Di Maria, Trubin, Ba, Morato, Otamendi, Tiago Araújo, Marcos Leonardo, Prestiani, Álvaro Carreiras, Florentino Luis, Frederick Auschnitz, João Neves, Neres, and Rolheiser. on Cristiano's list, on the sell side, Samu and Kokubu, Tony Silva, Florentino, João Mario, Cabral, and Tankstead.
No, I didn't say João Mario stays, bro.
Oh, okay. But you would sell him.
I said, no, I would sell him personally, but he stays. I told you because of the whole Portuguese thing. He's not going anywhere.
Okay. Put him on this side then.
I went on about that for 5 minutes. And out of that, you got to sell?
Because you said
Totally
what I
different.
would do and what's going to happen.
Yeah, what
it's
I
two
would
different
do and
things.
what's going to happen. Yeah, but yeah, I would sell him, but he's not going to be sold.
Yeah.
He's going to stay.
On the keep side for Cristiano, Thiago Gouveia, Di Maria, Trubin, Ba, Muratu, Otamendi, Thiago Araújo, João Mário, Marcos Leonardo, Prestiani, Alva Carreras, Auschnitz, João Neves, Neres, and Rollheiser.
I think it's the most I've ever.
The most we ever kept, right?
Kept. For sure. For me, for sure.
There's been seasons on here that it's just we have decimated the team.
Yep.
But
ia tudo embora. Ia tudo embora.
Romper.
No, not like Paulinho and João, but
no.
I hate to say it, mas aquela alturas, bro, ia tudo.
Yeah.
And that was after winning.
Yeah.
That was with Vitória. That was ia tudo, and we just won the championship. And mesmo assim ia tudo. And now we lost, and now I'm keeping like 80% of the team.
And look, I think that what we're looking at here and the fact that there's so many players that we keep, I think it only speaks to the depth of this squad, right? And the potential of the squad and the talent and the squad, even though that there's players that we recognize are players for the future. They're not immediate starters. Prestiani, I don't think Prestiani will start next season, but I think he will come off the bench. Marcos Leonardo, we also felt that he could have played a lot more, but apparently not. But yeah, Thiago Araújo, the same thing. Rollheiser, the same thing. I don't think Rollheiser's a starter next season. I think it depends on what happens with Di Maria or Neres. But yeah, I think that when you look at the amount of players that we all chose to keep, it speaks a lot about the depth and the quality of this squad, which is something that we haven't had in years past, and that's why we decimated those Benfica teams with the Chiquinhos and your neighbor from Gafanha, Chris,
Gil
Dias.
Grande Gil Dias, grande goal marcou no Stuttgart. Doesn't matter. I think that was his only one, but whatever, made it count.
Yeah, I think he was like on a roll. He scored like 2 games in a row for Stuttgart, and then he just disappeared off the map. PJO is saying, I feel like next season will be a very important season because of the new UCL format and us participating in the World Cup of clubs. Also, I believe that the league will be even more competitive. I don't know about competitiveness in the league. I do.
What I don't know about is if that Club World Cup is going to go through, is going to happen. That's what I don't know. Because FIFA, UEFA, whatever, they're suing them or yada, yada. They're looking to put some pressure on these guys because, or FIFA Pro, I forget, there's some type of protest from some organization. I forget who now. I guess these guys are playing too many games or something like that. So
yeah. PJO says Sporting and Porto are going to be really tough, and I don't think they're going to lose big players. We have to get ready for a transformation in the league. I think that here's what I'll say in terms of the league. I think the league, for the disparity that exists between budgets of the 3 top clubs, and you could even add Braga on there, right? Because now they have what PSG money. The disparity between the budgets of each one of the teams, those top 4 teams, and then the rest of the league, I think that teams are a lot more competitive, or the gap in terms of being competitive and competing in the league is much smaller than the gap that exists between the budgets of the top 4 and the rest of the league. So if that makes sense. But the Portuguese league, there's always there's good coaches that know how to set up their teams, but they're just limited by the talent that they have available to them. But I mean, we saw Rui Freire, Rui Ave, we saw Famalicão play well too. Moreirense had a good season. Vitória had a good season under Zé Boinas or whatever is Álvaro Pacheco. So there was a few teams that played good football throughout the season. Rio Ave, I think they stole points from all three big clubs or all four big clubs up until this and continues. They finished the season 12 games unbeaten streak. So there's quite a few coaches that know how to set up their teams, that know how to manage the human resources, if you will, that they have available to them. And I think that in terms of that, and we've heard Klopp say it, we've heard Pep say it, that the Portuguese league is a league that there's a lot of talent in the Portuguese league. It's too bad that the folks in front of the league don't do a better job of making the league more attractive. I mean, we got the situation with the scheduling of games that doesn't happen until sometimes like 2 weeks before games are to take place. They don't promote audiences, don't promote the live spectacle. They allow teams to behave a certain way in their stadiums where they make other fans take off their jerseys if they're from the visiting team. So the league hasn't really done much in terms of promoting the talent. Their motto is "Futebol com talento," and it's exactly that. But it's just that. What have they done to be able to foster and give the right conditions to the league and to players and to teams to develop? Not much. But yeah, I think that the Portuguese league is always competitive, but I think the disparity between budgets and talent available from number 1 to number 23 or 24 between the first 4 teams and the rest of the league is there's a difference between the level of talent available. So I don't know. Let's read some comments here. Benfica should consider high quality loan to bring if it's there. Yeah, I gotta. Let's just go look at PSG, see what they got to loan for us. That always works. I think that loans sometimes could be favorable if you get the right guy. But at the end of the day, loan is basically just a band-aid because whatever player you loan doesn't have a future that's committed to the club, especially ones that come without a buy clause. But for the right guy, I mean, we've had loans that have helped us. I think Cerqueira, if I'm not mistaken, was on loan from Atletico Madrid. So I don't know. Let's see who else is. Rafa spoke more in one interview this week than he did in his 8 years combined, and nobody cares, says Diogo Reis. Let's see. Is this Club World Cup supposed to be in the States? Is that supposed to be in the States, the Club World Cup, Chris?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So usually they use those competitions as a precursor to the next World Cup. So I don't know. But yeah, what else we got to say, Cristiano? Want to give your balance of like a season recap for you?
No, what I want to say is, man, very clear. I came in hyped, and now I kind of changed my mind. I wasn't going to say it. But since you asked, what I have to say, man, and some of you are not going to like what I have to say, but Shep, you have to hear me out. Okay, the beginning isn't whatever, not the nicest, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of being a Benfica fan, bro. I really am. It's like we're cursed. This team is fucking cursed. You look at Leverkusen now. They're going to steal Grimaldo from us, which I don't really care much. Then they break the fucking record, a 49-game unbeaten streak. And then just when they could help us to make our life a little bit easier, they're going to lose 3-0, and now we have to suffer and wait to see if Atalanta, who has nothing to play for, if they decide to show up and take these last two games in the Serie A series in order for Benfica to qualify directly, or else we're just gonna have to go the hard way and to qualify ourselves. And it's just fucking Bella Goopman, man. I'm so tired of this guy. I'm so tired of every time I think about him, it just annoys the crap out of me. Because we're cursed, man. We're cursed. We need to break this damn curse. And yeah, it's just been really frustrating. That's just it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of people invoking that. Hey, look, for me, it's just another chance for Schmidt to prove himself. If you have to go through the qualifiers, you have to go through the qualifiers because at the end of the day, you didn't do well enough to get the automatic qualification. And I think it would be very fortuitous for us to make it in the Champions League as a result of Leverkusen, who hasn't won a championship in decades, to help us get to the Champions League.
Who?
Leverkusen.
Who?
Leverkusen.
In what decades? They
They
never
never
won.
won. There you go. Never won. I knew it was
Yeah, that's why I
a
said
long
who?
time ago.
Yeah, it's the first ever. I think it's the first ever, yeah.
Just to right now, Atalanta is in the fifth and last spot for the Champions League. They have 66 points, 3 points over Roma, but they do have a game on hand. So Roma has one more game
they're
to
2
play.
points behind Juventus and 2 points behind Bologna.
Yeah, but I think that if they win the next game, they automatically clinch.
No, but the problem is that's the confusion I had. I posted it on Twitter earlier today, and I was corrected by a few people, which is only the top four get guaranteed. So the fifth spot will have to go to qualifier. Has to do the qualifier. So if they finish in fifth, they don't even go because they already got the automatic qualification by winning the Europa League.
That makes sense.
So they have to finish top four. And obviously their destiny's in their own hands. If they win their remaining two games, they're in. But now, it's gonna. They just won the Europa League. They qualified to the Champions League. They have nothing to play for. They're probably gonna rotate the squad in the next games and drop the points and finish fifth. To them, it don't matter at this point if they finish fifth or sixth. It doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the huge question mark, man. Like, just when Benfica could benefit from something, it goes against us. It's never easy, man. I love being a Benfica, man. I'm just being a clown about it, but it is tiring at times, man. Like, for real,
yeah, man. It's mentally exhausting. What did Vittorio used to say? Se fosse fácil não era por nós, right?
Yeah.
Brian Batista is saying, so if Leverkusen won, we would have qualified directly. That's correct.
Yes. No, he's asking. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because Leverkusen would have gotten the automatic. They've already got automatic berth into the Champions League as a result of winning the Bundesliga. But if they had won it, now that second spot is available. And I think that Benfica, because of their UEFA ranking, would stand to get that spot.
Yeah, the coefficients. Yep.
Chico Marcelino says here, guys, what scenario would you prefer? A, we sell Antonio Silva and Neves, but we replace Schmidt with a proper coach? Or B, we keep them, but Schmidt stays? Epa. So, Chris,
you're asking if I want to
sell Antonio Silva.
You're asking if I want to die by the bullet or by the knife. I mean,
there's no winning.
Either way, I'm gonna die.
There's no winning.
I mean, I guess the better is to keep Antonio Silva and Neves and go at it again next year. But again, we just had that this year. How'd that work out? We expect all of a sudden the coach to change? I just don't see it. And we know it's going to be a lot of turmoil with the fans towards the coach. So I don't know, man. It's a very good question. If you tell me we sell these two guys, get a lot of money, replace the coach, bring in some nice reforces with the money you get from these guys, look, sooner or later you're gonna lose these guys. So, I guess option 2.
Yeah.
No, sorry, option A.
So sell Antonio Silva and Neves and bring in a proper coach.
Yeah, because you're gonna sell them. Yeah. If you don't sell them this year, you sell them next year.
Yeah.
So you're gonna sell them anyway.
One of them is going for sure.
No. But even if one stays this year, he's gonna be gone next year.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, none of these guys are staying more. What are they staying? 3 years, Alfredo? That's it.
Yeah.
They're not staying longer.
No.
So they're going to be gone. So if it's not this summer, they'll be gone next summer. So they might as well rip the Band-Aid off, sell them, like I said, bring in a nice coach, bring in nice replacements, and build from there.
Zach is saying we all know Schmidt is gonna choke in the Champions League playoff. If Roger Schmidt chokes on the Champions League playoff against the team that it's not really a
Don't even say that, bro.
Do you think he loses his job right then and there?
I mean, no, Alfredo.
Say we play
I think it's
Olympiacos of the world or a Besiktas or Anderlecht. Olympiacos
I
are
don't
champions,
care.
so
It
they're
doesn't
going
matter.
straight.
It doesn't matter. We played PAOK a couple years ago and we lost. So
right.
It doesn't have to be a powerhouse like that. Dude, but to answer your question, no, Alfredo, no. If he loses, no, he doesn't get fired. Because if he's just a qualification away from getting fired, he has to get fired now.
Yeah. His leash is
once you
a
make
little
that
bit
decision, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Because you can't make a decision to keep him and then at the first sign of turmoil get rid of him.
Yeah.
Like you live or die with him.
Yeah. And I think that looking ahead to Rui Costa's media appearance or whatever, I think that he's gonna say, look, Roger Schmidt has always been the coach of the project and we're gonna stick with him. There was a lot of things that went wrong this season, and we recognize the things that went wrong. We're going to hit the reset button. We're going to go at it again, but I continue to believe that Roger Schmidt is the coach for this project, and we're going to continue with him. I think that there's a very good chance that those words or something along those lines is what's going to come out of Rui Costa's mouth. I think that if you let go of Roger Schmidt, it would have been within this week that the season is over and let the new coach start working on next season already. But much to a lot of people's dismay, Roger Schmidt is coming back. So, Chico Marcelino said, I would trade.
Well, we don't know. Maybe that's the surprise tomorrow. Maybe.
Yeah. Chico Marcelino said, I would trade half of our squad for a guy like Gasparini. Chico Marcelino says,
me too, Chico.
He feels that the coach is very, very important. I agree.
Me too, Chico. And it looks like there's rumors that Gasparini might wind up in our northern neighbors as the next coach of our northern rivals.
I heard
Gasparini is a hell of a coach.
Yeah, I heard him. I haven't heard him, but I did hear the guy. What's the guy that starts with a Z? Is he Italian also?
No, Zubizarreta. He's Spanish.
No.
But he's
the coach. Zubizarreta is already part of the.
Yeah, I don't. So he talk with a Z.
What is
no? No. I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Italian coach that starts with a Z, guys. Help us out. He was on a ball.
Walter Zenga?
No, he was on a ball today or a couple days ago that he was rumored to be attached to or to.
Oh, Di Zerbi.
It
doesn't start with a Z. It starts with a D.
I heard.
Yeah, but I doubt.
I heard Di
doubt Di Zerbi is gonna leave Brighton.
Yeah.
I doubt he's gonna leave Brighton to go to Porto.
Yeah. No, you just don't. You don't leave the Premier. And Brighton.
No, and he's done a good job, and he's got bigger. He's got bigger.
He's
teams,
turned that team around.
Bigger leagues. Yeah,
he's earned a lot of credit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take this Zerbi at Benfica too. I think he's spectacular. I think on Perin, I take all those guys.
I can't think of that Gasparini would come to Porto. I think that's a step down. I think from what he's done at Atalanta.
But he's leaving. He's announced he's leaving already.
I'm saying it's got to be a step in upwards direction, not to Porto.
No, but he had made the decision to leave before any of this. So whether he won or lost, he was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That going to Porto, a team that's always in the Champions League, it is an appetizing job. Say what you want. It is an appealing job.
Well, Porto's not in the Champions League, bro.
Not yet. If Benfica qualifies second, then I believe Porto goes to the qualifier, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I'm not sure. then I'm not sure.
Brian Batista says Benfica just needs to get the oil money like other clubs in Europe.
Agreed, Brian. Agreed,
I
100%. But
I just don't know.
Portuguese mentality will not allow it for anytime
Yeah, I
soon.
just don't
Maybe
know
not in my lifetime.
if throwing money is the right thing, because after all, we did spend 100 million, but we didn't spend it right. And look at what the season turned out to be. I don't know if throwing
I
money
tell you though,
is good.
Alfredo, throwing money covers up a lot of mistakes, my man. So give me the money all day, anytime. Look at the teams that have money, and this Cabral stuff will not be a situation. Firing the coach will not be a situation if you got money. Speed, no conversation, no problem, no problem. They suck. It's okay. We'll find the next guy. Give me money. Give me money
Yep.
all day.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Look, it's been a long season, and it's been a trying season. It's been mentally exhausting, and one of the things that Rui Costa promised as one of his campaign promises was that he was going to unite the club, unite the fans, because he felt that the club was torn to pieces because of the previous elections when Luis Vieira and Noronha Lopes. There was 60 to 40% was the result of the election, and I think that Rui Costa was able to identify that there was a lot of people that were on the side that wasn't his, which was Luis Vieira. And then when he came along, also, he promised that he was going to unite the club, and I think that the club has grown even more far apart, or the fan base has grown more far apart than we've ever been. So look, I think there's a lot of cleaning up to do. I think there's a lot of reflections that need to take place, especially on Rui Costa's part, on Roger Schmidt's part, and even from a player standpoint. And I think that sometimes we get the ideas that the players live in this bubble, and when you hear them speak out to the media, there's like, what is this guy saying? I mean, is he even feeling the same feelings that we're feeling of despair and frustration? And saw what you heard what Joe Mario said at the end of the game against Riwav, that it's almost like it is what it is. We did our best. So I don't know. I think that there needs to be a period of reflection for sure, for everyone involved at this club. I don't think the fans are the problem. There's a faction of fans that thinks that the podcasts and clocks are the problem of the club, and is what's fracturing the club. I don't think of it that way. We like to criticize the club, but it's all in a manner that we want the club to be better. So the criticism is always in a tone of let's do better, let's improve, let's change the way things are going right now, because that's not who we are as a club. It's not to put the club down or to whatever. It's just we all want what's best for the club, and as Cristiano mentioned, it's frustrating and it's getting tiring of supporting the club and seeing people in front of the club and the club doing things that we don't identify with.
I didn't say that. I said
What
it's
did you
getting
say?
tiring because we're cursed.
We're cursed.
Because we're cursed.
You believe in curses?
Not because of. I'm starting to. How could you not?
I don't believe in that shit.
Okay, well, the fact is, ever since that mofo said what he said, we have not won a European final.
You won the.
That's a fact. You can't.
You won the.
We lost
the junior.
9. We lost 9. Oh, come on, the junior. Junior don't count. Junior don't count.
I know, but to stick the curse to Leverkusen now, I don't know. I think it's.
Why not? Leverkusen's undefeated, and all of a sudden they lose when they can help us. I mean, what do you think? That was my chance.
It's for me, it's a stretch. I mean, you believe what you want to believe, but for me, it's a stretch.
Come on, it's so anytime Benfica could get benefit and they lose, this kind of had to do with the direção. Got nothing to do with coaching. Got nothing to do with Benfica today, besides the fact that they're cursed.
All right.
That's it. Listen, Zach says, and he's right.
Koksu.
I just noticed Koksu. I don't. Yeah, we didn't even talk about him.
That's right. We missed
Tô
Koksu.
flico contigo.
Where's Koksu? If you only
I don't
saw
know.
my desk, what my desktop looks like. Oh, that's Kukubu. Where's Koksu? I have Koksu here. Where's Koksu? Koksu.
We didn't talk about him.
We did not. How did I miss him? Because I went off of Dave's list and maybe I just skipped over Koksu.
I don't think Dave had Koksu. I was looking right now. He doesn't have Koksu on the list.
We spoke about Koksu at the top on the
yeah, on the revelation flop and all that stuff. Yes. But not
all right.
Not now when the loan keeps up.
Koksu. For me, he's a keeper for me.
Yeah, he's a keeper unless a deal comes in that you can't turn down.
Let me see what Dave said.
Dave
doesn't have. Yeah, Dave doesn't have Koksu on his list. That's why.
Yeah, he doesn't have
was
Koksu
going
on
off
his
of.
list.
Yeah, it's a keep for me. Dave, you still in the chat?
He's a keep. He's a keep, but if a deal comes through, he's gone.
Yeah, rumors about Arne Slot, his previous coach at PSV. Feyenoord, sorry.
No, was he PSV?
Feyenoord.
I think he was Feyenoord. He was Feyenoord, right?
Yeah.
No, was he? Yeah. Arsenal was also Feyenoord. You want to play lately, bro? I've lost track.
Bro, it's this Benfica team. So he's a. I think he might be a keep for Dave also.
Sheik was going crazy on his chat.
Ooh, Marcelino?
Yeah.
Chico, I would even say this much. I would sign for.
No, you got to read the comment before. The comment before is Porto's going to pass. Read that one, and then
Porto's going to pass us next season, and things will get worse with time if Benfica keeps going this path. André Villas-Boas' team is no joke, and he says I would even say this much. I would sign for Benfica to get relegated if that made the club to go through a revolution in terms of people running it. We need fresh blood and ideas ASAP.
We need a board that can fulfill
the
potential of Benfica and not one that spends 3 times what the competition does and still gets humiliated at the end.
Yep. I don't think Porto is going to be able to turn it around that fast in terms of the financial aspect of what they have to fix. I think they're in a much bigger hole than people seem to think of or think about. I think that once they start opening those closets and digging up those skeletons, lots and lots is going to come. And regardless of how many investors André Villas-Boas brings in, I don't think that next season, I don't think Porto will be competitive. But I've seen other things. But I think it's going to take them up at least a couple of years to become that Porto that we know. But I think that Benfica, especially Benfica, because I think Sporting is on a good path, especially if they get to keep Amorim. Sporting is on a good path. They're going to get the Champions League money. They're going to be competitive in the Champions League. For Benfica really needs to kind of follow the same path and be competitive and be consistent because once, and maybe I'm giving too much credit to André Villas-Boas, but once I think they get the house in order in terms of the finances, I think they're going to be really tough. And I've already mentioned that here. Between the DNA and then having the club run the proper way, I don't know. I don't anticipate good things to come out of that for Benfica once they get back on their feet. So, Jason Gaidel also says Koch should keep too much money invested. Agreed. Gaidel is saying Gutman is our great bambino. which is the curse of Babe Ruth. For you guys that are not familiar, Babe Ruth, that
Not for me. I'm a Yankee fan.
yeah, the Babe Ruth that went
No curse.
from the Yankees to the Red Sox, right?
No,
How does that work?
opposite.
Went from the Red
The Yankees bought
Sox,
him from the Red
yeah,
Sox.
and then the Red Sox,
Yeah, Yankees bought him
yeah, they said there was a
for a
curse
bag of peanuts, and then he went on
to be the
do what he had to do, and the Yankees dynasty was off to a start.
yeah. Diogo Reis says, I think there is a sector of fans that hold unrealistic expectations and hold it against the team and then help other fans revolt. That to me is the biggest problem at Benfica.
Stop. Unrealistic expectations. Yo, stop. You guys, you young kids don't know what it's like to be a Benfica fan. Exigência, bro. It's the thing we talked about on this podcast about in terms of exigência. Now all of a sudden, because you want the team to produce, you have these expectations of the team based on money spent compared to the competition. Now it's unrealistic expectations to want this team to win the Portuguese Campeonato, to win a title, to have one Campeonato in 4 years. You have Sporting with 2 Campeonatos in 4 years. You have and all of a sudden it's unrealistic expectations to ask a coach to be respectful to the fans and have an idea of where he's at. Read the room.
Yeah,
That's unrealistic.
I'm curious to hear from Diogo Reis. What are some of the unrealistic expectations that he's seen?
I don't see any Benfiquista today complaining, oh, this team didn't win the Champions League. I don't see it. That's unrealistic expectations. But what, expecting this team and wanting this team to beat a horrible Marseille, that's unrealistic. Expecting this team to beat Estoril in the Taça da Liga, that's unrealistic. Expecting this team to do better in the Champions League and not lose to a Salzburg team that lost the title in that country for the first time in like 18 years or whatever it is, that's unrealistic.
Yeah, look, I understand what Diogo Reis is saying. He expected to win too, but I'm not an idiot throwing flares at players. Look, I understand that, and you're gonna have
that's not expectations though, Alfredo.
Right.
That's just idiotic. Idiotic fucking people doing idiotic things. That's
a very small portion of the fan base that throw flares and do shit like that. Also, does this team think of the fan base and how the fan base has supported them if after a loss there's maybe 50 guys waiting for the bus to express their discontent at what the team's performance or how the team is doing? Is that something that we should expect? Do you look down upon that if there's guys that show up at the Seychelles and to manifest their disapproval of how this team is doing?
As long as there's no
violence,
there's no physical violence. I mean, come on, bro. That's what all of a sudden this season is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen as a Benfiquista.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden the fans whistling the team, all of a sudden this is looked upon and frowned upon as something negative. Oh my God, the team is not playing well because there was, for Christ's sake, man. Come on, come on. If you're, I've said this, I think every single podcast for the last 4 weeks. If you're that weak-minded, you don't belong on this team. Let's just look at, if you guys haven't had a chance, Matic has played at Manchester United, AS Roma, which is a club with crazy fans and crazy ultras, at Chelsea. He's played at various clubs throughout European football, and he said this week when they asked him in terms of pressure on him to compete and to win, and he said, by hands down, Benfica. Did you see any of these players complain? Any of these coaches complain after they were booed by the fans? After fans protested outside Seychelles? You don't see, because those are guys that understand what football is about. Now, I agree, throwing flares at people should not be allowed, should not be a thing. I understand, 100%. But in terms of everything else at play, and booing and complaining and letting people know you're this place, come on, bro. This is not the opera. Okay? This is sports.
Yep.
This is what people pay to do, whether you like it or not. They're entitled to their opinion. But I'm just stuck on the unrealistic expectations.
Yep.
What's unrealistic about what we wanted from this team this year? What's unrealistic?
Here's what based on the investment that we had, and based on last season, albeit the last stretch kind of left me a little bit wondering what would be the season. The expectation that I had was that Benfica was going to win the league. We were going to have a good showing in the Champions League, and maybe quarterfinals, depending on the draw, obviously. Portuguese Cup, be competitive in the League Cup, make it to the final at least. I mean, for the roster that we had and the money that we spent, those are the expectations. Now, if you want to deem those unrealistic expectations, I don't think they're unrealistic expectations. I think that when Benfica competes internally, domestically, those trophies have to be priorities. League first, Taça de Portugal next, and League Cup after that. I think those are just the regular expectations that every Benfica fan has every season, regardless of the roster, regardless of the coach. Every season, when July 3rd comes around, players report for medicals. The first thing you think is, we're going to win it this season.
Objectives.
Right.
These are our objectives.
So
we have to do these things.
Right.
So in terms of unrealistic expectations, what are those expectations going to be from the coaching staff when these guys show up? As you said, July 3rd or whatever it is. Yeah, we're cool if we don't compete. I mean, what are the expectations from the team? I'd like to know, what are these unrealistic? What's the coaching staff going to say? Like, yeah, we're cool. We want to be top 4 in the Portuguese league. We want to make it, to the quarterfinals of the Taça de Liga, and we're cool if we lose in the semifinal. Like, that's the expectations that the coaching staff is going to put out? I mean, what is so unrealistic about what people have been asking for? I just don't understand.
Yeah. No, I mean, and even, I don't know if you guys remember us discussing it here, when Benfica went out of the Champions League and we qualified for the Europa League, even at that time, we were already questioning how far this team could go. But deep inside, at least I could speak for myself, deep inside I said, we got a decent roster. Maybe we could still turn it around. We have this winter break to kind of freshen up our minds and freshen up our ideas. Then we go into the Europa League and we make a deep run into the Europa League because we have the roster to do it, right? We faced a Toulouse and we barely scraped by. Then we faced a Marseille who was struggling internally, and we lost that. So I think that this season...
Yeah, Diogo, I keep going at Diogo. I love you, Diogo. You know you're my man, but today you're just triggering everything. Diogo saying, we also won the league with very little investment. Let's see. Ausnes, Ba, Enzo. Those are just 3 that I could think of off the top of my head. We got a huge loan. The player didn't pan out. He didn't do shit. But in terms of a lot of money, we paid him for Draxler.
Mm-hmm.
There was play. I mean, I don't know about little investment. There was plenty of investment. Not as big as this time around. Not as big as the year with JJ when he got Everton, Cebolinha, and all those guys also. But to say little is like, you got a Band-Aid. This was more than just a Band-Aid. Benfica got key pieces and paid decent money for the Ba was 10. Ausnes was what, 12, 15, whatever it was. The other kid was 18. It costs us a lot more, obviously, with the percentages afterwards. But Sheik, what am I missing from that year? There's gotta be more players.
No, it
wasn't just those 3.
Enzo,
then we had
Ba.
Uh-huh.
Nobody a left back because we had a left back.
We had Antonio Silva step up, which is a new addition. Obviously, that was free.
Not much else, man.
David Neres.
But David Neres was already with.
No.
Did he start in the beginning of last season?
I don't know. Neres didn't come in. With JJ. Came in with him.
Right. So those were.
Neres is another one. Neres was a trade for Pedro, whatever it was.
Chico Marcelino, João Vitor. But he barely paid.
João Vitor also. Okay, but again, who cares? He was an investment, Alfredo.
Right.
He came in, he got hurt, but David Neres was there. Yeah, see, many people don't say Neres too. Yeah, and David Neres. So I mean, that's pretty key players to say a little bit of very little investment. I mean, just because you were able to get rid of the debt from Shakhtar that they owed you for Pedrinho, whatever his name was, you'd still assume 20 million. That's 20 million for Neres that was off your books. Yeah, see, Nick Valadon saying Neres came in with Enzo and Arsenis.
Yeah. Dave is saying.
Yeah, so there's plenty.
Dave is saying we were also a Di Maria offside goal away from having this second half of the season go a completely other direction. And look, sometimes you're gonna get the ball, sometimes you're not. It's just the way the game is. You know, but I just think that
No, Dave's just trying to stir up the pot.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not falling into that trap this time.
I think to me is a disappointment all around, and as Nick Valadão said here, the expectation should be to win the league, make it to the finals of both the Taça da Liga and the Taça de Portugal, and make at least a round of 16 of UCL or a deep run into the Europa League. Yeah, I think those have to be minimum expectations for any Benfica fan at the start of the season. That's the way it's always been for me, and I've been around for a little bit.
My thing is like Diogo saying, you know, we won in the past with very little investment. Shit happened. Granted, right? Granted. But those are rosters that were deep, and the coaching staff knew how to manage those roster pieces better than what this guy's. Because here's the thing. So he's going to be announced tomorrow. I'm expecting Rui to announce him that he'll be back. Okay, that's fine. But now you're going to tell me that all of a sudden you think Roger Schmidt is going to start getting the substitutions right? He's going to start getting the squad rotation right? I mean, he hasn't done it in 2 years. So now all of a sudden he's going to start doing it.
Yeah.
That's my question mark, guys. And then all of a sudden Roger Schmidt is going to stop saying, hey, man, we lost 5-0, but yeah, I don't have to apologize for nothing. And then the coach to come in and all of a sudden stop blaming the fans for losing to Marseille because they were booed the game before, and saying that the negativity, that's what Diogo was suggesting the negativity hampered this team some way. But wait, that same fan base that was singing, they're singing their hearts out loud at the Dragão losing 5-0. That same fan base that when we got humiliated and the scoreboard didn't reflect the reality of the game at Sociedad, right? The same fan base that traveled and was there and was loud and heard, that same fan base, all of a sudden, is the reason why this club is losing. Is that what you're saying? Come on, bro. That's childish. And anybody who doesn't take accountability and responsibility for what's going on is at fault for everything that's happened and gone the wrong way this season. You have to, at some point, look at yourself in the mirror and say, look, my bad. This year wasn't the year we all expected. And then next year, we're going to give it our best and we're going to try to fix the errors we committed this year, but we're going to come back and give it our best to get things right. And nobody's saying that. He hasn't said that at one point. If anything, he's doubled down on the fans. And yes, Diogo, there is a handful of fans that are not acting the way we'd like them to act. Agreed, 100%, man. Nobody's denying that. But that doesn't take away the fact that this team got plenty of support throughout the year. That doesn't take away the fact that this team on this roster, there was more than enough quality to compete domestically. It doesn't take away from the fact that this team was good enough with the right manager, the right touches, to beat a bum-ass Marseille team. But we're just going to ignore that all of a sudden because after that, some fans threw flares in it, right? So now all of a sudden, this season, instead of having the look in the mirror, instead of having the responsibility, accountability, we're just going to say, no. The fans who threw the flares on the field, all of a sudden that's going to mask the ineptitude of this club to get things right. So that's what we're doing here, right, guys? And the next year, when we're back in the same place, we're going to find something else to blame. I mean, if that's what you guys like, that's fine. Alfredo, to each his own, right?
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
That's not what I like. That's not what I expect from this team. This is Sport Lisboa Benfica, bro.
Yep. Yep. If I wanted to follow a team for recreation, I'd follow a team in the Premier League, where it doesn't really matter whether they win or not, or just for recreation. But I don't know. At the end of the day, Cristiano is, like you said, the exigência
It's gone.
has died down, and
And,
it's
and you know, Alfredo, I don't know if I asked you, and I'm sorry, man, to, to, to jump in once again, but I don't know. I think I asked you. I don't know if I asked you this on air, but it and guys, and please don't take it the wrong way. I'm not attacking anybody. Okay, everybody's entitled to be a fan in their own way. Hey, to each his own, man. Um, feel free to open and let me know that I'm okay with that. But I've noticed that there is a detachment, right, from that exigência to what we see now in terms of, oh man, everything has to. We're losing, but everybody's fine. You can't scream and yell at nobody, right? And that the detachment is right. The old school lost it because of the Vietnam years, right? And then there's still some of us that hang around with the same demand, even though the team hasn't been the same since. And then the new school of fans that came in, right, with the new stadium and cameras and selfies, and you think something has been lost there, Alfredo?
yeah. Look, it's been lost to the point that we stopped from caring and living and being aware of what this club does on a daily basis to being standbys or passerbys or just spectators when Luis Felipe Vieira was changing the statutes inside the club to his liking, and there was no opposition with it. People were just okay with it. So I think the exigência started dying down there, because if you know the club and if you've grown up with the club and you've lived with the club, or whether it's through your own love, or that love was passed down from your father, from your grandparents, from whoever, from an uncle, whatever. They used to tell you stories about the Benfica of old, um, and you got that thing inside, that what Mística was, what the DNA of the club, what it means to be a Benfiquista, and then all of a sudden it becomes okay to lose. It becomes okay not to have exigência, and that's when I think the club started kind of turning. When it became more than just a club, it started becoming a business, and we started becoming clients rather than supporters of this team. And I think that these days that is how the club treats their fans. The whole situation of why don't why doesn't the bus why don't they allow people in a rotunda to welcome the bus? And that's just one example, but there's plenty of examples in terms of how this team kind of lives in a bubble, and the fans don't really have contact with this team. uh, I mean, we see Sporting has a podcast, and it's a club podcast, but they have players on it. They interview players. Benfica has nothing like that. And the podcasts that make themselves available to interview players, or have asked if they could interview players, they get shut down, because that is the club that we have. That is the people that are in front of the club. That's how they decide to run the club. And they are creating a deeper and deeper moat between the fan base and the club. And one of these days is going to be so exclusive to the people that they accept, that they deem as normal fans, and all the rabid fans, the guys that spend tons of time and tons of money traveling up and down Portugal to follow the team, travel many kilometers throughout Portugal to come to Estádio da Luz every weekend. All of those guys mean nothing to this club, because that is the division that the club is creating between the fan base of the guys that really feel and live this club 24/7, and what the club expects your behavior to be as a fan. And your behavior to be as a fan sometimes has to set that exigência aside, because the club doesn't tolerate that you expect more from them. And I think that there's a lot to unpack and in there, and there's a lot that's going on at this club, and the problem isn't only the players or Roger Schmidt or whatever. The problem is much bigger than that, and I think until we fix that, or until Rui Costa decides that no, we have to do this another way, we're just going to be another Manchester United, where it's players after players and coaches after coaches, and the team will never get back to those dominating years. We would just beat teams by nice margins, put out a good display, had a good runs in Europe. Teams would fear coming into Estádio da Luz to play us, and I know it's the old Estádio da Luz, whatever, but I think we've lost a lot of that identity, and a lot of that is because the exigência that we have is now being dismissed, and it's not being really taken seriously. And there's no one in the club that's saying, fuck, that exigência that fans are talking about, we need to really go out and do everything that we possibly can to make sure that if we're not producing results, we're at least putting out our best effort, and the fans recognize us for that. And as Cristiano mentioned, the whole idea of that the fans are partly to blame for the team's downfalls, and the example that Cristiano uses, fine, you were getting 5 from Porto, and the 2,000 or 2,500 fans that were there, they were cheering the team, they were singing for the team. So I don't think if there's anything that Roger Schmidt can complain about, it's not the fan support. He has to realize that the fan support is what it is, especially on some factions, because he's the one that created that. Can't go into press conferences and say top game, top team, top performance when we also, it was garbage. I don't know what else to say, but
Alfredo, call accountability, my man.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to go, man. I've had enough of discussing Benfica for this season. But I think when you look at clubs that just throw money at the players and at the squad, and leadership has to come from the top, and as Cristiano mentioned, they have to be accountable too for the failures, because after all, they work for us. We're the ones that pay their salaries as paying members. So we'll see what Rui Costa says tomorrow. And then it's just forget Benfica for a couple weeks and be right back at it. And on that note, let's say goodbye. Chris, any more parting words from you?
No, that's it. Thanks, Freddie.
Yep.
Appreciate all the support throughout the years, man. You guys have been wonderful. Let's hope that our Benfica gets back on track and can make these conversations a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. And as Cristiano said, we'll eat crow if Roger Schmidt comes back next year and he wins all the domestic competitions and he meets our expectations.
He doesn't have to win them all. But he has to win some.
Right. Yeah. Look, another season has gone by, and thank you for joining us and keeping us company and being part of the weekly therapy. And it's sucked that it has been therapy and not something that that we're here and joyful and praising the team and feeling proud to be a Benfica fan. It's been another tough season, mentally, for us Benfiquistas. It's tiring. It's tiring. We'll be back next season. As always. Team is supposed to report to camp I think beginning first week of July. So we'll be back the Tuesday after that. So that's it. Thank you very much for everyone that supported us throughout the season, both here on YouTube and live, and also when the guys that listen later, guys that listen on the way to work, at work, that we're a bit of their companion. We appreciate every single one of you. So thank you very much for your support. For myself and Dave and Cristiano, tremendously appreciative for all the support that you guys have shown us. We'll see you again next week. Not next week, next season. Take care, everyone.